Fala pessoal, tudo bem? Danilo Brizola aqui. Estou aqui no escritório da Codium, aqui em Austin, no Texas. E hoje a gente vai falar sobre o Windsurf. Eu estou aqui com o Baxter, que vai trazer um pouco sobre a plataforma. E a gente vai conversar em inglês, mas vai ter ali a legenda para vocês nos acompanharem. Hey, Baxter.
Thank you very much. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. So first off,
Yeah.
talk. Let's talk about Codium's mission.
Let's do it.
Yep.
So Codium's mission is really to bring software development acceleration and give developers more leverage, not only for individual developers, but also specifically for the enterprise. So we are enterprise proven, not just building for the enterprise, have a strong track record in the enterprise space. And although we started off actually as an infrastructure company, that gave us a lot of technical advantages that still provide a lot of benefit to our end customers today. So happy to talk about those, but in a nutshell, that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. That's really good. Like I can say like that Windsurf, it's really good because we are actually using it like since November last year when you guys launched it.
Yeah.
We are using this a lot, and it's been like a quite great experience. And like what is the thing that the developers they love the most in the platform?
Yeah, I mean, first off, to your point, it's great to hear you're using Windsurf. Going from 7 months ago, we hadn't even started building Windsurf. This kind of highlights our velocity as a product. Going from that to launching for all developers in November, going GA for the enterprise in December, and now we have over 500,000 users. All of that is within a span of 7 months. So the space moves fast. We move really fast. And to answer your question, it's like for people like myself, right? I'm on the sales side. I'm on the go-to-market side. A lot of the go-to-market people have actually built 0 to 1 applications themselves because we don't actually have to be intimately familiar with how to write software development from scratch. I didn't have to go spend 6 years learning how to code. The Windsurf allowed me to do that. But I think the amazing thing is not just that it can do that, it's that it also supports our largest enterprise customers, right? What we care about the most is not just Windsurf's ability for somebody like myself to create a new application, but it's can we do the more complex brownfield migrations,
Exactly.
refactors, rewrites, and sometimes 10 plus million line code bases, right? So
Exactly.
meeting both camps is really key for our strategy.
And that's really important because we work with large clients as well, and we work with large, code bases. And for us, in the first place, like it was the question, okay, can we use that to, work in large code bases or just for like 0 to 1 applications?
Right.
And we've seen that we definitely can use this for working with large code bases. Of course, you have like a lot of parameters that you have to define to work with large code bases, but it's totally possible. And the experience so far, it's been really great. And I just want to understand from your point that right now you're working with multiple enterprise clients.
Right.
And what is the experience so far? Because we have our own experience working in a lot of different applications for enterprises using Windsurf. But what are the key ingredients for other enterprises using it right now?
Yeah, I think I'll answer your question somewhat indirectly just from my experience thus far, but I think the coolest thing for us on the go-to-market side, and also it's validating all the work, the hard work that the engineers put in, is just how excited large enterprises have been to come to us and ask if they can get their hands on Windsurf, right? I think the reason for that is everything before Windsurf we viewed as basically like V1 of AI copilots, of Gen AI code assistants, right? We had a product. Obviously, GitHub Copilot was the first mover in the space. There were other secondary players, but with Windsurf, we feel that we went from that paradigm for that 3 years of AI code assistants to really version 2 and the next big step function change in the space. And it's been awesome to see not only the individual developers validate the palpable excitement that enterprise executives have told us, like, we need to get our hands on this tool. We know you are doing something different. That has been most validating both for us and for the engineers. And I'm happy to dig into a little bit under the hood and why that's so cool. But
definitely, this would be my next question. So, how you guys are seeing like the increasing in the developer productivity? Because I think like for an enterprise, this would be like a key, in using a tool like Windsurf.
Yeah, it's funny. This is the question right now, right? Being able to frame this with executives and be like, I know it's hard to believe, but some of these tasks, right? Let's say a year ago we were talking about how can we make you 20 to 30% more productive on, I don't know, a migration or on ensuring unit test coverage for this file or this repo, right? When we're talking now about a task that might have taken you 4 to 6 weeks, if we're able to do that in 4 to 8 hours, how do you actually quantify that without them seeing it to believe it? Because if we start throwing out just metrics blindly, it's going to seem impossible to believe it. And that's what we're saying when we go from that first iteration of AI copilots to the new world of these more like basically agentic IDEs like Windsurf, where we also incorporate a deep understanding of the large repos and of the human intent. That's when the numbers start to get pretty crazy, and that's when it's more like try it to believe it, because it's almost impossible if we're just telling you these things.
It's kind of come and see, right? Yeah, like exactly. Come and see, because it's really hard to say, hey, we can, I don't know, X your productivity, it's come and see. So, and we've been proving that, right. I was just, talking before a little earlier here, and one of the things that we've seen in one product that we built there, it was the velocity, like from conception to production, right. It was like 2 weeks, crazy. Like one sprint.
Yeah, and I assume usually that would have taken a long time.
Exactly, like usually just to set up the project, just to set up everything would take like one sprint, and we would able to manage, like the conception to production in 2 weeks. And I'm talking about like a real product, like a real software, not like something that we were playing around. It's generating value to one of our clients. That's why I truly believe in what you guys are building here. And for enterprises, this is massive. Yeah. Instead of putting like one product in, I don't know, 3, 4, 6, or 1 year, you can put that like in one sprint in 2 weeks. This is massive.
Right. It's it's super validating to hear it from actual customers like you guys. Like that's one thing for us to be like, hey, we've seen this, and this, but to hear it firsthand in person is great. And I think the way I'm thinking about it right now is, it's awesome that we can get these tech wins and make something go from 8 weeks down to a week. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, why that actually matters is the fact that your company now can deliver 8 times faster, and that affects their end customers, and it becomes this virtuous cycle where like we are feeding in an actual productivity boom, and we're still just seeing the beginning of this in the whole space.
Exactly. So we know that like Windsurf has like a lot of different features, and right. What are the features that the enterprises right now they are using the most?
Yeah, I think to keep it simple and why it actually matters to the end customer and to the enterprises, I think the biggest step function change that we've seen is the fact that we've introduced these agentic capabilities. So just for some background, as like Windsurf is our AI native IDE. The reason we built our own was we realized that to do what is necessary in the way and the direction that AI is headed, we needed to be able to play in our own sandbox and not be limited by existing tools that weren't optimized for AI workflows, right? So when you combine this agentic capabilities, right, instead of doing single steps of saying, generate a unit test for this function or autocomplete this line of code, right? That's what everyone in the space, including ourselves, was doing a year ago. When you can now do things like multi-file migrations, right? Creating unit tests for an entire file in a cascading manner. You combine that with our deep understanding of an enterprise code base, that contextual awareness that was our advantage since the beginning. And then the third thing is we have to be also super conscious of enterprise security, enterprise requirements. None of this matters if it wasn't a tool that had been vetted and trusted in the largest enterprises. So combine all of those with our understanding of what the developer's trying to do, that human intent, right? Because we're not just using a basic LLM and saying, oh, you want to do this? Because there are so many dependencies in these large legacy enterprise code bases, right? So we need to know what the developer's trying to do, where they left off, what's going on in the code base, and then combine that with these powerful new agentic capabilities, and that's when things start to really pop off with Windsurf.
That's amazing. That's really good. Yeah. And for example, there's an enterprise that they are thinking and going, in pursuing this path, using, Windsurf and all of that. But one of the major, I would say, like major problems would be like the fear. There is always fear in starting using something new, right? Like, what would you recommend for them to start, kind of grasping the area and starting using this? Yeah. Like, what would you recommend? What would be the ideal pathway for them?
Yeah, it makes sense. And at the end of the day, like enterprises are going to be reluctant to do something that puts them in a vulnerable position, and we would never ask them to do that. So I think the way I try to approach this with the biggest, most security conscious enterprises that I work with is saying, it makes sense that you're going to have fear about these new tools because they are agentic. They have agentic capabilities, right? we always keep a human in the loop. At the end of the day, nothing that is being committed to your code base is being done autonomously. It is the result of a human saying, yes, this is going faster, but I see what's being suggested. This is what I want to do, and they're committing that. And the other thing is, everyone's going to have different requirements and different fears based on their unique company. Every company is different, right? So I think being able to define the fears, put them on the table, work closely with Windsurf to work through those. Is we've seen, we work with some of the most complex, strategic, like high security companies in the world. We really value the partnership. We are the most white glove vendor in the space, and we prove that in every sales cycle. So it's one of those things where we're never going to come in and say, Windsurf for everyone, right? Take it piece by piece. Perfect. And start trying the tool, right?
Exactly. And you touch a very sensitive point in there, like security, you know? Like what is the most important thing, like for an enterprise to start, testing, Windsurf on a security standpoint?
Yeah, I think a couple just key points that just out of the box that will resonate with every enterprise. One is we never train our models or any third-party models on your code. We never persist any of your code either, right? So whether it's our proprietary models that we train from scratch, filtering out any non-permissive code, or our partnerships with some of the giant model providers out there like Anthropic, right? We have full zero-day retention agreements with all of them. We provide things legally like indemnity. You own the code that you accept, that you own the IP there. We provide contracting cover sheets to make sure we're very clear on all of this. But at the end of the day, like, we don't say we're enterprise ready. We say we are enterprise proven because we've done this at some of the most complex large organizations.
So guys, like what we are saying here, it's safe to use Windsurf in your code base. Like your code won't be like in some other repo like any day. Exactly. Like it's safe to use Windsurf. Like, because this is one of the questions that I get a lot. A lot of people asking, and also clients asking. Okay, so but you guys are gonna use that, but my code base, what like the AI will be trained with my code base. So this is a perfect,
Think about it this way too. This is our entire company. Our singular focus is on giving enterprises the most secure, most leverage possible AI coding assistant. So we would never put ourselves or you in a position to jeopardize all that we're trying to build with you. Right?
Perfect. That's amazing. Last message to Brazil. So we are, promoting this in Brazil, and we know like Brazil, it's a huge market for software engineers. We have one of the most talented software engineers in there. There's also some I would say some fear from the developers to start using it because they are with that fear in mind that, okay, I'll be replaced by this tool. We believe and we know that this won't happen, because like you said, human in the loop, it's always something that will be necessary, for tools like that. But could you just leave a message to the developers that are kind of a little afraid of starting testing it and using it? So
I think human in the loop is just scratching the surface of the point you're trying to make here, which I completely agree with, right? We are not here as a replacement for developers. We are here to give every developer the most leverage they can possibly have, right? So whether you're a 10x developer and we make you 20 times better and you're now a 200x developer, or you're a 1x developer like me, which is why I'm in sales, like, not only are we making everyone more productive, we're also expanding the definition of who can become a software developer. So instead of replacing them, we're actually allowing people like myself, who otherwise would struggle within a code repository, to now build applications just like everyone else on our sales floor. So think of it like that. We're growing the pie, definitely not taking away anything.
Of course, giving more capabilities, right? Extra powers.
Exactly.
So I think this is one of the things that we are talking a lot with our engineers there. So we talk to them, hey guys, those tools, they are giving you extra powers. Like you can build things in hours instead of days or weeks, right? Exactly. So that's all about.
I think of it a lot like, you wouldn't give away the internet now and go back to writing everything on pen and paper, right? The same
exactly.
way. Like,
that's a really good analogy.
In 3 years, you're going to look back and realize that it would have been a mistake to not start using these superpowers because it's just going to make everyone better. And it's still the early days, so it's going to take time for everyone to realize that, just as it did 30 years ago with the internet. But that's the direction we're headed, so we're excited to give everyone these superpowers at Windsurf.
Perfect. Like, we cover enterprise, we cover the developers, and let's finish with your message to the enterprises that will test this in Brazil.
The message to the enterprises are, we're here to make you successful. And the same thing with developers who are going to look back and wish they had adopted it sooner. I think it's genuinely getting to the point where it's not enough to just check the box with AI code assistance. It's the companies that are going to stay the most competitive are the ones that are partnering with the most innovative, high-velocity organizations, and that's why so many enterprises early on are choosing Windsurf to partner with and build faster, better.
That's it. Yeah. Thank you, Baxter.
Thank you very much
for your time. I really appreciate that.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, have a good one and start testing Windsurf. Can you say the website and how can they get more information about Windsurf?
So windsurf.ai or codium.com. And gracias. Lo siento, solamente hablo español, pero gracias.
Valeu, pessoal. Muito obrigado pelo tempo de vocês que ficaram até o final. E é isso aí. Tá aí um mundo de oportunidades e vamos acelerar o desenvolvimento de software, acelerar o resultado das empresas através de desenvolvimento de software usando inteligência artificial. Até mais.